this video, I want to talk about swapping transmissions in the 1981 to 1984 Mercedes turbo diesel passenger cars. Now you're looking at two transmissions. This one here came out of a W126 300SD, and this one came out of a W123 300D. And you're looking at these transmissions, you're saying, man, they look almost exactly the same. Now remember, we're talking about the 722.3 transmission in the 1985 models. Quite a few of the diesels had the 722.4. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'll just show you what one looks like, but it is different. So I get a lot of emails because people are saying, well, my transmission's worn out. I want to get a used transmission. Does this one fit in that one? And can I move this one over to this one? Right away, I need to say you have to stick to the 1981 to 1984 turbo models. Don't get a 1981 non-turbo sedan or coupe and start swapping with the later transmissions. Now I know somebody says, oh, you can do that. Well, it's a lot of work. You have to change a lot of things. Anything's possible, but I don't recommend it. Just stick to 81 to 84 5-cylinder turbo diesel, whether it be a 123 or a 126. If you're going 123 to 123, whether it be a sedan, coupe, or station wagon, it doesn't matter. It's a direct swap. Now, the problem comes when you want to take a 300SD W126 transmission and put it in a 300D or vice versa. And that's what I want to focus on in this video. I'm going to show you there is a difference, and it's pretty significant. The external difference is right here. Can you see the difference? That's because the 300SD uses an electronic speedometer, and the 123 uses a cable direct drive speedometer. Except in the 1981 300 TD wagons. For some reason, 1981, a couple of those, I've only run into a few, but they had an electronic speedometer, so you need to be kind of aware of that. But as a general rule, this is the big difference right here. So what it means is, can I really swap these transmissions? I know some people have actually swapped these, and they said, I don't care about a speedometer, and they just take this and put in the 123, and they can't hook up the speedometer. But you can do it if you're willing to remove these rear cases here and do a little work. Then it is possible to do the swap. Let me show you the difference inside. Okay, so here's the 126. Look right there. Those 4 prongs spin, and here is the electronic pickup right here. Now let's pull off the W123. Right away you see the difference. There's a gear here, and there's a gear in here that spins, so that speedometer cable fits in that hole, tightens down. This spins the cable, and that activates your speedometer. This transmission I'm actually going to put in a W123. The reason is it's a factory remanufactured W126 transmission. So when you look at the cost of rebuilds now on these transmissions, anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000, depending upon where you get them, it's worth maybe using a used transmission if you know it's good. And I know this one, I think like 10 years ago, the owner had to pay the dealer about $4,000 to get this installed in his 300SD. So you think, well, that's no problem. I'll just pull off this piece here. Okay. Now here's where you got to be careful. There's going to be some spacer rings. These are shims, so you need to keep these with the transmission for the time being. So that's the part you're going to pull off here. This is the part you're going to pull off there. And you'll immediately say, well, gee, I'll just take this, put this on here, and I'll take the 123 case and reinstall it, and we're good to go. Not so fast. I'm going to get in close now and see if you can spot the difference. This is the W126 300SD. I'll get it from a couple different angles here. And now we'll move over to the W123 transmission. Now look closely. Do you see something that's different? There's an extra piece inside this W123 transmission. That's right, there's this extra tube in here. You know what that is? Look at where it comes out. It's got a little spout that comes out right there. That's an oiler tube for that speedometer drive gear. And back to the 126. Whoa! There's nothing in there, but look at the hole right there. The hole is in the case for that oiler tube. Let's go back to the 123. And you can see where that end of the tube goes into the hole, and it's held in place with a bracket right there with one of those bolts, and then it comes out that hole. So guess what? We can pull the tube out of this transmission and put it in the W126 transmission. And here's the tube we are going to install in this W126 transmission. You can see I'm going to have to remove this bolt right up there. Note there's a washer. It is a locked-in washer though, so that's good. You probably won't drop it. Now, you may have to bend this slightly. It's a little bit of a Chinese puzzle to get this in here. So we're going to have to get this end kind of started in the hole right there. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate this in. It's going to hit right up in here. I'm just going to bend it down a little bit. There it goes. Popped in. All right. Okay, that looks good. You can see the end of the tube right there. We're fully in this hole here. Now I can start that bolt. Push up on it so you don't cross thread. Get it started by hand. Okay, we're in. Look at that, and that's slick. Now I can go ahead and take the other pieces here. I'm just going to show you because I want to clean them. I'm going to leave the original spacers. Now I'm not going to go over this in detail because there is a sequence. There are manuals online for the 722.3 that talk about setting end play in these transmissions. But I'll leave those spacers that originally came on the 126. I'm going to flip this on here like that, and then I'll go ahead and I'm going to trial fit it and check end play first before I pull it back off, you know, get the gasket ready and reassemble everything. Now you can see it as possible. We put this on and it's going to go right on there and bolt up. Just make sure your parking pawl is installed properly with the spring in the correct orientation, and then just make sure when you put it in park that it engages thoroughly, and when you take it out of park it can rotate freely. I also highly recommend that you replace some seals while you have the transmission out of the car. These are primary external seals which tend to leak, so just replace them. You want to replace this rear seal in this rear case. That's a no-brainer. And then make sure on this coupling that you take and polish this. See, there's a little bit of dirt and rust there, so I'm going to take and get some 800 grit sandpaper and polish this thoroughly. And here's the little seal kit we offer that you should replace anytime you have one of these transmissions out. There's an O-ring in here for the modulator. So I'm going to pull the modulator out and change this O-ring here. And there are aluminum sealing rings that you want to replace when you reinstall the transmission cooler lines on these banjo bolts. That's to not use the old crushed aluminum rings. The two other O-rings in this kit are for the Bowden cable. You definitely want to change that one. That is one of the high leak O-rings. And the oil fill tube right here, that O-ring is also very common to leak because of its age and exposure to heat. And then finally, I do recommend on the outer case here that you replace this O-ring for the B2 piston. You want to take this off. You want to watch my other videos about the importance of the B2 piston upgrade. If you're not sure, open this up. If you don't have the B2 piston upgrade, you want to get it. This is one of the big issues with these transmissions. This O-ring seal in the B2 should be replaced also when you have the transmission out of the car. Here is the 7.2 2.4 transmission that came out of an 85 300 TD wagon. You can see the case is considerably different. The basic transmission dimensions are the same, but you get back here to the rear case and you can see right away that it's different. The bolt holes aren't even going to line up. So if you have an 85 model, I recommend that you stick with trying to find a 123. If you have a 123, you can put the older 7.2 2.3 transmissions in these cars, but remember the 85 has a different torque converter, has a different stall speed because of the higher 2.88 rear end on some of those models. So you've got some issues you might want to have to think about if you're going to try swapping an earlier transmission into an 85 car. But that's your call, it's your car. But I have no information how to make the swap that I just showed you for these 7.2 2.4 transmissions.